Hi, this is Wesley Robin. They call me Mr. Rock and Roll himself. I'm trying to reach y'all, folks. Matter of fact, just tell you in my own story, excuse, to tell you in my own story, in my own language, in my own words, how I started it and um, the business, and also how I try to tell you all about my life, and also I hope this maybe someday might inspire folks and let them get to continue to eventually go on further with their lives. Maybe manage it to get a career or get a relationship or whatsoever it is. Depends on it, where it might inspire you. I guess it can be differently, person to person. Well, let's say it. Um, who am I? Well, um, beside my soul, I believe that I am Jewish Christian and spring spiritual as well. Uh, so it might be sounding kind of strange to you. I don't know. Well, I was born in the Netherlands, in Lily City, as the city in Flevoland, Flevoland, and that's in the Netherlands. So to depict it on an American style, well, the state is Flevoland, the city is Lily City, and the country of which is sent home is the Netherlands. I was born in 1998, and on the 15th of May, and it was hard growing up, being poor and all. And my family eventually were business people in construction and also bank accountants and such. But my grandfather had a fight in the family, fuss, which caused to cause damage on money. And my father expanded it companies and such, but left me and my mother alone. And therefore, I had to stood up for my mother at an early age of just 6, 7, or such. And when I was 8, I picked up a guitar. On I got as a Santa Claus present, and earlier on, and I also wore the suit, and I liked suits more than regular fashion or such today. Um, I couldn't watch it. That she, you know, she was ill at the time, and I decided to stood up for her. But I knew my age just wouldn't let me, and all elderly people will, react strange to it and might be got scared or such. But my IQ is quite enough, let's say. And so I put it on the suit and wore the black hat and Blues Brothers sunglasses because in the Netherlands you have an other artist, which is great. His name is Andre Hazes, and so I thought it would be funny to look like him to get attention, and so I did. And with a straw hat, I let it under a brake in order to not get gone by the wind. And the guitar itself, in the inside, I built it on. an MP3 loudspeaker with acoustic Western um, music from how is he sound, man? What's his name? Ennio Morricone. Ennio Morricone. So I had an acoustic playlist of Western songs from Ennio Morricone. I put it on that thing, and placed it with duct tape in the inside of the instrument. So in that said, it made an extra acoustic rhythm and sound. So it looked real. Also, I had an electric toy guitar, and I figured out that when I was playing the song differently and hit the tones differently, it sounded like dubstep. And Jack Black with the saxophone, that same thing, but then with a guitar of it. I did it when I was 8, and not to do big with it, but just in order to buy food with it, so we could eat at the end of the day. My mother didn't knew this, and I just simply said I had to go to a friend or something. And in the meanwhile, I was standing, some blocks away at the market street, performing with a thing and with the head on, and told my mother I bought it just for fun. I said I like carnival and such, which was false. In matter of fact, we didn't even, party did it. So I just wore it in order to get attention on the street market as well, and then played with the thing. And at the end of the day, I got $50, and so I gave it to my mother, and she was angry at me at first, but because I was going and doing those strange things. But she wouldn't accept $50. She only accept 10, and the rest was for me. So that's it. That's how eventually my career, I guess, started. From that moment on, I saw those faces, and I saw how people smiled at me at an early age of 8, and decided to go on and do acting. And when I was 9 or such, well, we couldn't bear it any longer, and my mother used to had friends and contact with family as well, so we had to move on during a cold winter, and because we slept the mattress at a poisoned petroleum boiler with such. So it was terrible. So we moved out, and then we lived with, you know I guess 12 people at a 3-room house. So that was a lot. And then my mother remarried another guy at North Bremen, and so I moved to there. And when I was there, he wasn't that kind of guy she thought he was. So we had to flee several times. I fled sometimes separately to my grandfather and grandmother, which were parents for me as well, and sometimes to friends of mine or old friends of my uh, mother. And she tried to get me there, in fact. And then I generated money at bars when I was at the age of, I guess, 13, 12 and a half, 13. People knew my story, and they thought it was terrible for me at that early age, and what the other option was as well. So eventually they tried to help me and get me food, clothes, and such. And then I performed at the bar and sang, and danced and made pictures as well. art, in fact, drawing and art. My grandfather do logo designs for companies, which he did for a famous soccer club at the Netherlands as well, Ajax, and redesigned their logo at the 70s. And that's the regular logo in 2026. So I learned from the early age of 5 till 15 when he got Alzheimer from him how to draw, and I can draw while talking with you, while drinking a glass of coffee or whatsoever else, or Coca Cola at the other hand, and watch you instead of the drawing, and then still draw. I also can withdraw my hand, which means I can uh, draw with right hand and either with the left. So I'm pretty good at it. And once I decided I wanted to make a comic and about my stories, and I thought about it at an early age, and then I used architecture style, but it was more like my grandfather, which used comic and architecture style to get it modern with a twist. And so I used scratching or scratching style with comic style combined. And I sold it at bars and sang in the meantime as well. And I also generated money, and then I bought gifts, and you know. And then I met an actor, a famous Dutch actor, Joost Buitenweg, which heard the story as well and thought it was terrible when I was 16, and he decided that 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 maybe I could get acting lessons from him, and he always kept in contact with me ever since. And also, I met a voice actor named Paul von Gorkim, and he is the original voice of many um, synchronizations or Dutch variants of Disney movies, and he is actor in the past as well. And he decided to teach me privately some few lessons when I was at friends' houses. And also, he eventually um, gave me some information or advice, as you call it, and that was simply to listen to interviews on YouTube and such of other artists. So I've studied Dutch artists, many like Luc and Pieter Lutz, Joost Buitenweg, but also John von Eert, André van Duin, and Kraaikamp, um, Jaco van der Made, and um, Joop Doderer. How you name it, I know them. Hero Muller, I know them all, and I learned my basic acting skills from those interviews of them, and I snaked into theaters when I was young, and to see those people perform as well, and uh, I because of the money, I liked acting so much that I decided at the early age it should have been my career. So I learned what money was, and also how certain things works as well in social system, and then I figured out how I could generate an own acting company and make also trainings or courses for learning how to act, how to sing as well. And at the bar, it worked differently because, as a matter of fact, I never knew I could sing. I had a certain look, you know. I was 11 almost when my voice started changing into, you know, those teenage years where you got that. Also, my length of my, you know, I was almost 178 cm, and then I was 12. So I looked again strange, you know. Also, a deeper voice started to develop already, which is, you know, not regular as well. And then I, you know, wore suits. I got by a contact of mine. Uh, she is the owner and the CEO of Nikki, which is a fashion company. I met at bars and through friends and such, and also her mother. And well, she talked, and then I got a contract for modeling for CNA Franz Molenaar. And so I wore suits at the early age of 13, 14, and jewelry on and such. So that's how I got in as well. And that's the basic fact about how my career eventually developed through the years and how I got those skills from. And then I decided through Paul from Corkim again to sign me in for casting bureaus, and I got a role right away with John Fournier and toured with him since I was 18, and then I decided to develop my own thing as well, and talked with. Uh, I decided to write a email, and I then once had the privilege to talk to Donald J. Trump, President Donald J. Trump, and he said it was a good idea. And then later on, I am a patriotic person as well. Also, even if I'm from the Netherlands, I love the United States of America very much. And at 2018, he launched an, prize he gives out through the White House every year from an outsider, outstanding most outsider of the USA, and I won the first title ever given by the United States government. So that's the thing which I'm mostly proud of prizes I won during my life. That I was being recognized as the first winner of the most outstanding outsider of the United States by President Donald J. Trump in 2018. And that's, I guess, one of the most respectful titles, if not the only title you can get when you're not living in the United States, but are truly an outsider, which are not busy with immigration as well. So I won the first one, and I guess that's my biggest hit I ever did. And you know, at school, they always my teacher bullied me at school when I was young, and she said that people had to do extra homework if they're not bullying me, uh, and such. So yeah, I don't know why, but never got the answer for it. But the thing is that she and I had a discussion that I will, you know, want to speak to president. Well, I have to tell her dreams can come true still. Even now, I believe that younger generations. That's why I tell you all about. And I will get to that point later on. Well, then I spoke with a casting bureau, and they had us casting, and they decided to get me in contact, same with Joost Buitenweg, with Talpa. And so I made a plan and the future nostalgia thing going on from that day on when I was at Talpa because we talked and I did work freelance on Hit the Road again, which is a program, a show, TV broadcast in the Netherlands, and we talked. And so I got a gift from them, a microphone from the Voice of Holland from the season 1 and 2, and then also I got in contact with a name which had a studio, and we recorded Abilene, and then my music thing going on. And at 2019, I created WRL Productions in your eyes, and with Royal Love and such. Not the same thing as the weekend does with In Your Eyes, but the, we made a demo of an example of an remix of it, and that's now known as the WRL version, which is in the remixes section of the Hall of Fame. Only 1 year, but it was there 1 year. It was good. It's not fully so, but just 1 year. Was a prize as well. I won the WRL version of the remix of In Your Eyes of the Weekend. And in 2020, well, the lockdown came along, and so we had no other option than be forced into digital entertainment, and so we did, and became a pioneer on that surface as well. And I toured later on. Um, I had the privilege to reopen after the COVID virus pandemic the theater of Tilburg at the Netherlands in North Brabant as well. And then my career got slower, and I removed out of the house of where my mother used to live, and too soon get on my own. And well, here I am, and um, trying to even if I'm trying on my own, not because I want to, but I have no other option as for now on. At this point, I'm still standing, and if is there one thing that I ever can um, tell other generations, which are younger than me, I'm 28 now, is that you always have to believe and stand on your dreams and your ground and not let anyone um, tell you how to be. Just be yourself as long as you do it kindly. And I guess that's the thing what makes people go um, be big in life and hit the score and such. Um, but be patient, be kind towards others, and also um, I believe that everyone has a good will and a bad, and if you find balance with it, you find unconditional love. That's what I believe, and I guess that with that said, that's what I'm trying to tell y'all. That if you're trying to stick to your truth, and if you're trying to be yourself as much as you can, even if other try to compare you or whatsoever else, you can be. Okay, that's said. That's uh, that's funny and all, but what about me? Well, although I may be a CEO of an entertainment industry company, which is not big scale, but okay, it will do. In the main future, I guess it will be settled in with someone else, but that's future. Um, People used to compare me to another artist which lived during the 50s and 70s, and there are also conspiracy theories going around that that is his reincarnation and such. Well, I don't know. I won't. I won't say no. I won't say yeah because I simply don't know. Even although I'm spring spiritistic and I believe in reincarnation, I can say yeah, neither or no because I simply don't remember. So that's it. I don't know. But I am an own entertainer. I myself, Wesley Robin, Mr. Rock and Roll himself. I'm not Elvis, the king of, etc. So when you are in business of the showbiz and such, you will start learning that people might don't recognize you first before you get recognized. You will experience that people might think three, four times about you before they are knowing who you truly are. And then is the other question if you want to be seen fully because the others don't do as well. So why do you have? I don't see a difference between a bakery or a chef in a restaurant or a taxi driver or an artist. So I think you can only just reveal as much as they do, only on another level. So when you show yourself, then be also true to yourself. And if you have a record label or company or whatsoever else behind you, well, be true to them as well. So that's my advice. Through life, and if you fallen, well, look at me. Never ever give up. I guess that's the thing. Always keep calm. Well, respectfully, Wesley Robin, Mr. Rock and Roll himself.